Kirwan's Game Store, the best place in gaming.
We see Zach Wood attach the plasma energy to the Genesect without energy to bring forward the Pikachu, so he's going for an Emerald / KO. And he Sycamores away another Sycamore. That's a little bit rough in the early game, having to pitch supporters for your other supporters just to get them in play.
I believe he drew... Oh, is that an energy switch in his hand right there? Not the super
No,
rod.
that's a Super Rod. That'll be interesting later, since both players seem to be pretty willing to Ultra Ball away their Grass energy.
Sure.
Zach goes for the KO, and he's
Takes
attaching his Grass energy.
Yep.
On the Genesect EX, he attached the Plasma to, so that Genesect's ready to go, and the other's a single energy attach away. What's interesting here is that he's decided not to attach to the Pikachu at all. Perhaps he plans to build that up later using his other Verzian. Either way, the Raichu could prove to be a high impact if either player gets it ready.
But here we see again Greg discarding the Raichu for an Ultra Ball.
It's another interesting choice. I suppose it makes a little bit more sense now that his Pikachu is knocked out. What I think will prove to be really interesting here is how Raichu comes into play, because Greg does run double colorless energy.
He also runs 2 Super Rod to recycle everything he needs.
Yeah. Zach Wood doesn't play any double colorless energy and only plays a single Super Rod. So I suppose Raichu he considers to be a little bit less valuable. Another interesting choice we have here that could prove to be high impact in the late game, alongside certain supporters, including Greg Stemplin's main decked copy of Lysandre, could be Jirachi EX. Perhaps he's saving that bench spot now that he has 4 on bench for Jirachi, in the event that he needs to Lysandre something rather than red signal it.
Very true. What's very interesting too is Greg is also running double Shadow Triad.
Yes, rather than Zach's single
standard
copy, placing a little bit higher priority on G-Booster. Here we see Greg Stemplin go for the Emerald Slash on Zach's Verzian. So that Verzian is now up to 120. That means that Verzian is 1 Emerald Slash away. Ooh, we see a Skyla for a G-Booster. Very high impact play coming on here from Zach Wood. Shuffles his deck, yeah, it's a G-Booster. So perhaps that Sky Arrow is going to come into play now since he played it down earlier, and he's going to be able to retreat for the Genesect. And I think here we're going to see the G-Booster come down.
Ooh.
Oh, we see the energy switch.
He's just trying to load this guy up and
Yeah.
take a good KO, further himself in the game.
I think what's really important here is that energy switch right there puts the Genesect up to 4 energy, so after he G-Boosters here, he's only going to be a single energy attach away from being able to do it again. So if he gets rid of a Plasma and a Grass here, he can simply red signal another EX and go down to 1 prize.
Very true.
Here we see the G-Booster. He elects to keep the Plasma energy on the Genesect and pitches both Grass energy.
But he has a Grass energy in hand, so it was the right choice. Zach is honestly in a really good position.
Yeah, Zach's already taken half of his prizes.
And he's got a G-Booster for next turn if something is not done about this.
Here we see a Colress on Greg Stemplin's part for 7. Probably trying to dig for an energy and a way to get to that G-Booster soon so he can respond. He knows that G-Booster is coming down the following turn.
He might be looking for the Tool Scrapper in his deck also. I don't think he's gotten rid of it yet. he probably wants to get rid of that G booster. So
Yeah, as long as he can get that G booster off the table, I think Greg will be very comfortable with his position, even though he's behind on the prize trade.
did he get?
Oh, we see a Lysandre and the G booster in hand.
Ooh,
Well, I don't. Oh, he did get the energy. And here comes the G booster in response. But he does not have the same level of momentum that Zach does. He does not have energy switches from the looks of it.
but
Here, Greg G boosters away. The Genesect takes his first 2 prizes.
it's good that he did get rid of one of the biggest problems in this matchup to the other G booster.
This will actually be a little bit more difficult for Zach to recover from, rather than if Zach was to KO Greg's Genesect, because Zach only plays a single copy of Shadow Triad to retrieve that G booster.
I believe Greg has a double colorless in his deck as well, so
Yeah.
if he gets that, he could put that on oh.
He could attach it to the Genesect, but he'd need a way to get another energy onto it. But then, if that were the case, he would only have to get rid of the double colorless for the G booster.
Very true.
And that would, for the 3rd turn in a row, leave him 1 energy attach away from
Ooh, did you stick him with a hand?
Yeah, he just sycamored a
That's-
humongous hand away. Very interesting choice.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I think Zach Wood here is trying to dig for his energy switch. He doesn't appear to have gotten it. What he could do here potentially is try to get the Emerald Slash moving, or attach and go for the Megalo Cannon. It appears that's what he's doing. I think it'll be interesting to see what he puts the 20 on here. I think he might go for the Genesect of damage, because that would only put it a Megalo Cannon away. Yep, he chooses to place the 20 on the damaged Genesect DX. Greg plays Level Ball. I think we might see that Jirachi come into play, or Pikachu. He seems like he's eyeing up that Jirachi. He's considering the board, looking at his hand. He does have the Lysandre in his hand, which is interesting.
He also has an N in there too, I believe. It's right next to it. I don't know. There we go. There, he's grabbing it.
He grabs a Raichu. Very interesting choice, considering he doesn't have a Pikachu on the table. He could be trying to thin his deck out.
He also has an Ultra Ball in hand, so
Oh, he Ultra Balls both of
There we
them
go.
away. So it appears he is going for deck thinning. He's eyeing up that Jirachi again. Notice he placed that on the bottom of his deck. Zach Woods shuffling through his hand here, seems to be eyeing up that Chorus and Skyla, figuring out what to go for here. The Jirachi for Juniper could be really high impact here, because potentially Greg could draw the energy switch and another energy. That'll allow him to take a second G booster KO, and it'll leave Zach Wood a little bit short on energy, and he won't be able to effectively attack with that Verzian because it has 120 damage on it, meaning that if you were to try an Emerald Slash and take the KO on that Genesect, which is only 70 away from being knocked out, Greg could respond right away by using his other Genesect. Here we see Greg go for the red signal on the damaged Verzian, and he sends in the
the
fully boosted Genesect without the G booster. No damage on it, and he's going to take the knockout on that Verzian that was just dragged forward.
Take another 2 prizes, furthering him in the game. The real problem is now, if Zach loses this Genesect, he's going to really struggle to get those last 3 prizes, considering...
Well, as soon as he loses this Genesect, the game's over. And the real issue
Yes.
here is, if that Genesect is damaged to the point where it's a single attack away from a KO, aside from a G booster, then he's going to really struggle overall to just get energy on the board to attack with something else. He does opt Skyla for the Shadow Triad, which is an interesting choice, considering the Genesect is 1 energy away from G boostering. I don't believe he has a Plasma in his hand. He does not. So here, the best he's going to be able to do is go for the Megalo Cannon, or he could potentially send forward that Pikachu and try to stall that way, and hold the Shadow Triad. What's important here is that, he goes for the Megalo Cannon. So he's going to hope that Greg doesn't have an energy. We see an energy switch come down, and just like that, Greg's going to retreat. He's going to send forward the Genesect, and he's going to G-Booster away Zach's last Genesect for the win. So that'll be game one. We see a very early lead from Zach Wood completely fall apart, and Greg Semplin take a 1-0 lead in round one.
It's really interesting. Zach started out so strong against Greg, and Greg, through conserving his energies and playing very smartly, ended up pulling it back at the end of the game. Zach taking a very early 3 prizes, and Greg pulling through there.
I think that Lysandre really showed through there. I know he was eyeing up the Jirachi EX the entire game to grab the a supporter, and that ended up helping him in the end there to grab the Juniper. But he was really eyeing that Lysandre, and I think that's really one of the main reasons he chooses to play Jirachi, is because he can just search for a Gust Effect and drag forward whenever he wants to kill.
Well, it was a really smart play by him to discard the Pikachu and Raichu for the Ultra Ball to grab Jirachi, because it thinned out his deck, and it allowed him to grab the Juniper that he needed to make plays.
Yeah. When he actually had gone for the level ball, I thought he was just simply going to grab the Jirachi. I hadn't realized that he had the Ultra Ball in his hand. Very smart play on his part. The deck thinning obviously seemed to help there, because in his last few cards he did happen to draw energy and the means to win the game. So, we see a Virizion EX in Greg's opening hand.
Zach will be going first this game.
Yeah, Zach has the mulligan, so Greg is going to start with an extra card, at least, if he so chooses. I don't see a reason not to in this matchup. Zach is going first, so that'll be important again, because he'll be 1-up on the energy attaches. Now, we do know that Greg just has Virizion EX as his active there, so obviously his priority early is going to be to search for a Emerald/Target. I think what Greg's focus is here really is kind of just let Zach walk into some of his stronger plays.
And then slowly get rid of them as the game goes on. While letting him take as few prizes as possible, which is what we saw with the Pikachu going forward. Yeah,
Zach's very aggressive playing ended up actually hurting him in the end, because he lost his G-Booster early.
Here we
his
see,
version suffered. Here we see a third mulligan.
This is rough.
Zach is definitely struggling to get a hold of those basics.
We see a basic finally. Two of them.
We see a Pikachu, a Genesect. He appears to be without a supporter again on turn 1. That's definitely a disadvantage, especially considering that his opponent is drawing 3 cards for those mulligans.
This is going to be a very rough start for our local player, Zach Wood.
So we see the Genesect and the Pikachu. Oh, we do actually see a double colorless. I had not seen that when he was going through his deck. That's an unexpected twist. That'll be interesting considering he does have the Raichu in his hand. He needs to get a Virizion as fast as he can, or a supporter, to get moving here. Taking Emerald Slashes early game with this matchup is not something you want to do.
Very true, very true. I'm very surprised he opted to lead with the Genesect instead of the Pikachu.
Yeah. I think considering he has the Raichu in his hand, that he'd like to conserve that.
That's very true.
So he didn't draw the double colorless, so it seems to have paid off. But yeah, that is an interesting choice considering Raichu is no retreat cost.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have evolved into the Raichu the following turn and retreated to a Virizion if the situation presented itself.
Also, he has a Plasma Energy in hand, so if he did lead with the Pikachu and he started loading up that Virizion, he could bring something forward to maybe try and halt his plays, but...
We do see the Raichu come down. That could prove to be important as the game progresses. But we still don't see a supporter. Zach drew a switch for his turn. Seems to be thinking about whether he wants to make an aggressive play or not. He could potentially... Oh, he is attaching the Plasma Energy. And it appears he is going to red signal the Genesect, meaning that if his opponent doesn't have the Sky Arrow, which we see Greg does in his hand, that he would have to commit an energy. But we see the Sky Arrow come down, meaning that the Genesect will be able to retreat, and that Virizion going to come forward and Emerald Slash. That could prove to be important because Virizion Genesect's damage calculations are very exact. The 50 or 70 with the Muscle Band from Virizion, which we do see the Muscle Band come down there, work out perfectly with Genesect EX's attacks. You get perfect KOs and 170 HP EXs, which is why attacking first in this matchup and getting your Emerald Slashes off as soon as possible is very important.
We see another Raichu dropped by Greg Stemplin, and another Pikachu. And then we see the Emerald Slash for 70, and the 2 energies onto the Genesect, furthering him in the game. This is starting out really rough for Zach.
Yeah, he's definitely hoping he can get a hold of a supporter soon before long here. He does have the G Booster in his hand, which I suppose could
But the
prove
Genesect,
important.
the
Yeah.
Genesect's definitely not living for the 2 turns to attach energies.
He could retreat to the Raichu here, just to soak up an Emerald Slash, considering Raichu is 90 HP. And he could Circle Circuit for 20. Just like Muscle Band damage, the 20 could matter.
Yeah,
Oh, we
draw
see
the
a
Skyla.
Skyla. We're going to see a Skyla for the
Yep.
Team Plasma Ball. Very interesting choice. Oh, no, he opts not to use the Team Plasma Ball.
The Ultra Balls. Getting rid of a Switch and a Tool Scrapper. Most likely grabbing a Virizion. He's got the Grass Energy in hand, so he can attach that for turn to Virizion, but...
I think we might see the retreat for the Raichu here, considering he wants to build up the Virizion. And he can Raichu. He can use Raichu to use Circle Circuit for 40, which can be important later. We see the energy come down on the Virizion. He actually retreated for the Virizion straight up rather than put any damage down with the Raichu. We do see the red signal for the Genesect of 70 on it. That could prove to be very high impact if Greg opts to use Megalo Cannon here. That in itself will take the first prizes of Game 2.
Now, if he doesn't want to Megalo Cannon away that Genesect, he can just swing in with that Virizion and load up another, or a Genesect, or even the Raichu,
Yeah, putting the Genesect at 140 could prove important because that would only put it 2 Megalo Cannon snipes away from a KO.
Man has a lot of plays right now. Ooh,
Oh, we see the retreat for the Genesect.
looks like he's gonna go for the KO. He does go for the knockout, putting damage on the...
Verizian. Oh, we see Zach top deck of Verizian. He is having a very hard time seeing supporters. He doesn't have the energy for the attach, so he passes. Very rough game 2 for Zach Wood. He's already been... Oh, we see the Skylar for the G booster. So this is going to put
Another knockout.
Zach, yeah. He's going to be behind 4 prizes now, which is
Greg
very
also
rough.
having that energy in hand too.
Yeah. And we see the energy
Oh.
switch. So he's going to be able to G-booster the second turn. And we already saw Zach discard one of his tool scrappers. So potentially, if Greg has the plasma energy in hand, we could see the red signal for the win. And
There
we
we
see
go.
Zach extend the hand, and that's the game. All right, viewers, here we have Zach Wood, the loser of our round 1 feature match. Now, there are 5 rounds of Swiss, so you definitely could make top cut, considering if you win the 3 of the next, maybe ID 1 round, or draw unintentionally. So you still have a shot.
Yep.
Now, what we saw early into game 1 was you started off really fast. You had the Emerald Slash right away. You had a lot of very high impact plays, and eventually that Lysandre play that he made, in addition to his own G booster on your Genesect, kind of broke your deck's back.
Yeah.
Going into game 2, what did you consider your priority being?
Probably just starting off strong, getting the Genesect powered up, but didn't really get any supporters, so kind of slowed me down. Plus,
Yeah.
I mulliganed 3 times, which didn't help, giving him the card advantage.
That was a definite disadvantage too, having your opponent being up 3 cards.
Yeah.
Game 1, you guys were completely even. Hand size wise, neither player took a mulligan in game
Yeah.
1. Thinking about game 1 now, was there anything that you do different?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have Skylid for the Shadow Triad at the end. I would have definitely tried to get maybe a supporter or something else.
Do you think perhaps you played a little too aggressively game 1?
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, one interesting choice I saw was the double colorless in your deck list.
Yeah.
I imagine the purpose is for Genesect and Raichu, just single
Yeah.
attach, you can G-booster, circle circuit.
Yeah.
How has that been working out for you?
It works really good against the Darkrai Yveltal decks. That's mainly why it's in there for Yveltal.
Now, one
Does-
other choice I found interesting that I saw also, you had the Mr. Mime. How has that worked out for you, and what matchups is that for specifically?
Usually just for the mirror match against the Megalo Cannon, and people don't really play much else that does bench damage anymore unless you get like a rogue deck.
Alright. Well, good job in your first match.
Yep.
Obviously, you start off a little rough in game 2, but happens. You draw how you draw.
Yep.
Thank you for your time. Good
Yep.
luck in the rest of the event.
Yep. Thanks.
Alright, here we have Greg Semplin, the winner of our round 1 feature match. How do you feel? 5 rounds of Swiss, starting off 1-0.
Yep. I felt pretty confident after that. This is the first event I've ever played for Genesect like that, and having a round 1 mirror match, and I know my opponent's played it before, so I figured going in, like, he might be able to outplay me at some turns, but I got really lucky, got some crucial draws. Game 2 especially, like, I felt bad. That wasn't much of a game for him.
Yeah,
But-
having the Skyla for the to get the Verzian there
Yep.
was rough. And then
But,
not seeing anything else, but
Right.
you played well. You played very strong, especially in game 1.
Yeah.
You walked right into your G boosters, and once once you drop G-Boost on the table, he really struggled to get anything going.
Right.
He started out very aggressively, took
Right.
like quick 3 prizes, and then he had no follow for it.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed during that game he got rid of his tool scrapper early, and I figured he might only have one on his list. And going throughout the game, we were both low. Like our decks got pretty small, but I just figured he didn't have another one, and I was able to take out his G booster right after he used it.
One interesting thing I noticed, several times you're shuffling through your deck.
Yep.
You kept eyeing up that Jirachi EX, and eventually it ended up helping later. You saved it, and
Yep.
it got you the Juniper that really helped you pull out the win there in the end.
Right.
How do you like Jirachi in your list?
It is so crucial. Like I wouldn't play it without Jirachi.
I know a lot of people, some people are very iffy on Jirachi because it's a liability in mirror match.
Right,
but,
definitely.
I think you really did the right thing there with holding it until you absolutely needed to, because
Right.
otherwise it could be potentially a free 2 prizes.
Right, especially in the mirror match. Like, I mean, you have 4 or more red signals that you can use at your disposal. So, I mean, just having a 90 HP EX on the bench. So, yeah, I kept eyeing it, but I waited for the right time to use it.
And that obviously paid off. Another interesting choice I noticed is you play double colorless energy.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
I was toying around with it last night. I had 2 in my list before I came today, and I bumped it down to 1 because having that 1 allows me to, say against like Yveltal, and he knocks out a Genesect, and I've got maybe a Virizion on the bench, not too much else going on, allows me to just attach to Raichu and attack like that turn without having, attach an energy switch and relying on more cards. And I also, minimally like it for G-Booster, being able to G-Booster, and say you have 1 energy left, then you can energy switch attach that, or...
So you only pitch the 1 energy.
Right.
That can prove to be very high impact too, because you have the 2 grass and then you attach the double colors, then you're only
Right.
1 attach away.
Yeah.
Um,
But I was really iffy on double colorless today. It was kind of like a test day for it. So.
It's an interesting choice. One other thing I noticed was escape rope. A lot of Virizion Genesect players opt for maybe a pair of switches.
Yep.
What made you choose escape rope?
Escape rope I really liked in testing because it really helped in the Garbodor matchup. What I usually found myself doing I would escape rope where their lone attacker is set up.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd have to either, put Darkrai or Yveltal out, and it's not always, they might not always be able to switch back out of that.
Yeah.
Or they're forced to put up Garbodor, so I can knock it out if they have multiple attackers set up and they don't want to send those out.
Okay.
It also, I think it helped in the mirror match, turn 1, putting his Virizion he attached to on the bench, forcing him to have to get that Sky or actually he Skylid for the energy switch, so he had to waste the energy switch.
How do you feel about the one Lysandre in your list?
I love that so much. I was going in, I was like, why would you put that in? You have built-in catcher support. It allows, you don't need to rely on attaching a plasma energy to get those catchers. And especially, I think it's game-breaking against decks that have evolutions. So, say you have Virizion, and maybe you go first, and so you're doing 50, 70 with Muscle Band.
Yeah.
Hitting that 70, using Lysander on a Trubbish.
Yeah, and then you take.
Yep, you take the prize, you stall them a little bit.
Yeah, that can be very key in the Garbodor matchup.
Yep.
I think it's interesting because you have a total of 6 gust effects.
Right.
Because catcher's a pseudo gust effect, as
Yep.
you have mentioned. All in all, do you feel comfortable with your list?
Yeah, I really like my list. It's really consistent. Some of the techs in there, I'm testing out today, but for the most part, I really like them.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Congrats on your round 1 win.
Thank you very
Very
much.
good. Starting off 1-0,
Yeah.
5-round tournament. So
Definitely.
you're definitely starting off with a bang.
Yeah.
Very solid game 1. Came back from a bit of a deficit in the beginning. So
Yeah.
that goes to show how well you have a handle on the deck, which
Yep.
is good considering that you've just started playing it.
Yep.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Congrats. Good luck in the rest of the event.
Thanks.